All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm Noah. I am joined by a very special guest, Ethan, with me from the F1 Car Discord.
Hello.
And
I'm excited.
today, we wanted to, I don't know, just do some F1 car talk because not a lot of people really talk about it besides Hannah. So I thought it'd be fun for us to go over a few things.
For sure. Yeah, I'm excited, and I also I'm always looking for some more content to hear or see. So I think this is good for other people too that are trying to get into the hobby or in the hobby and just want to hear about it. So yeah,
Perfect. If you want, you can talk about maybe like who you collect, if there's anything specific you look for, stuff like that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. In general, I started collecting about a year ago. Went to the grandparents' house. They have a big collection, and I never was really interested as a kid until I visited like a year ago, and kind of showed some interest, and happened to be an F1 race that weekend that I was staying with them. So me and my grandpa kind of go on the computer, and we're like, well, maybe I should look for some F1 cards since he's a big baseball collector, and he's a big advocate of just collecting what you love. So we went on the computer. I looked up F1, and sure enough, those Tops Now cards were just being released, and Chrome and Dynasty were on their way for pre-order. So it was kind of like perfect timing and really cool to experience like the first year's product of this F1. So yeah, that's uh, that's how the collecting started for me. And as far as my PC is mostly Max, big Max guy, and Hammy. All the young guys, the rookies, George, Lando, Charles, and yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So I haven't really ever said on this channel as well who I am. I'm Noah. I started collecting baseball cards when I was 10 to 12 years old back in 2009 to 2011. My best pull I ever had was the Trout update when I was maybe like 10 to 12, all somewhere in there. And fell out of it for a few years. Got back in 2017, 18, more baseball. Came back during late 2019, early 2020. I was a big NASCAR guy, so racing growing up, and Drive to Survive obviously helped the F1 interest. So I remember I started looking just to see if there was any F1 cards out when I first started, and there weren't. So I was like, huh, like this, like I'm surprised nobody's done this. Then fast forward like 6 months, I kind of checked again randomly, and it was right when Tops Now came out. So it wasn't the first one; it was maybe like card 10 or so when I first saw them, and I was like, I have to get in on this.
That's super interesting. That's super cool because that's probably like exactly the same time where I had did that. Mine was at like card around there, like before 10, like around then. Yeah,
So yeah, then like
that's
I started buying like the ones that I thought were big. So I bought like 20 of the Russells, ended up buying 80 of the Verstappens, which I'm still need to move slowly but surely. But
yeah,
yeah,
yep.
F1, like I loved it so much, and it just so happened that everything lined up perfectly for me getting in on the stuff.
Yeah. That's super interesting that you looked it up like once or twice before it was a thing, and it still wasn't a thing. That's crazy.
It's funny because I've done that same type of thing for other things, like because I'm a big reality TV show guy as well, and I know in the I'm a big Survivor fan. If you know Survivor,
Yeah.
so I like in the early I knew in the early 2000s they made like these fun trading card sets for that. So I always thought like it would be so like I would always check these oddball things because I knew NASCAR had a set, so I figured Formula One
Right.
has to have a set, like it's
Yeah.
worldwide, and they didn't. And I was shocked, and I was
Crazy.
like, but then yeah, it just came out and it was perfect.
Yeah.
So for those who just heard, he's a big Max guy, and what a better way for your first dynasty to pull
Yes.
a Max? How did you like? How
Oh
what
man.
was that emotion when you pull your number one guy out?
Yeah. So the emotion was came from first of all like I don't know at least a couple months of the product kept getting delayed, and then when you started getting to it, like for me it was my first time getting to the hobby, so pre-ordering a box for $500 wasn't like it wasn't that easy to click a button and have a
Oh,
random box
that's
shipped to
still
me.
that's still an expensive box for me at $500. Like, let alone
Yeah,
back then.
and then it kept getting delayed, and then okay, finally get it, and then I'm waiting till like a Friday just so I'm like looking forward to the weekend, have something fun to do, and all day I'm nervous, like what am I gonna get? home, open it, and sure enough, it's max 4 out of 5. So I was just stoked. It was a good day for sure.
All right, and then for those who haven't seen it, I will play it now for you guys to all enjoy.
That's good. Sorry, I'm like not even showing it. A little blue. What would that be? AlphaTauri? AlphaTauri? Fuck. Max! Fuck yes! 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 Fuck yeah! Let's go! Fuck yeah! Let's go! Sorry. Oh my god. Let's go. It worked. Yes!
All right, so some of the stuff we wanted to talk about today were a few eBay sales we had. The one that I decided I wanted to talk about was this monster out of 5 Verstappen Sapphire variation.
Yes.
The PSA 8 that sold for $12,500.
Yeah.
So like
Crazy.
knowing like seeing like all these crazy cards, like you just think they just can't keep going up. But
Yeah.
they keep finding a way.
They do.
So I actually saw one of these at the National. I saw Luke from the F1 Card Discord
Oh yeah.
as I was waiting in line to pick up some Panini silver packs. And
Right.
I introduced myself and he goes, "Hey, you want to see the Max?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I see the Max card and he goes, "Hey, if you want to offer me 12 grand cash, I'll cancel the eBay auction." And I was like, "Dude, I'm a college kid. I can't
Yeah.
afford the 12,000 Max, but it's sick to hold."
Not yet. Yeah. I get you.
Yeah, like
Yeah. So, um, the interesting thing on that is if you compare that to Dynasty, and just go on comps for max out of 5 on Dynasty, like there's one a PSA 10 for 8,500, and that was in May, but still like
yeah.
just that comparison alone kind of makes me think like Chrome might be what people are more interested in, and like at least it's, I think, obviously fair to say that it's the most popular for the F1 line. So that's super surprising to me that it went for 12K at a PSA 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say 100% because like knowing like me personally, like I love the Dynasty, but like I still have a hard time like thinking of Dynasty as being that like if I'm gonna get one definitive, like for example Hamilton card, I'm not gonna probably go for the Dynasty because there's like so many different variations. I'd rather go for like an out of 25 orange.
Yeah.
So it's funny seeing like I'm showing some of like the recent sales. Like there was like a dual patch that just sold of Verstappen and Albon. I know the Albon probably hurts it,
Yes.
but it was $3,000.
hmm
So like seeing the red go for 12 and this Dynasty just 5 dual for $3,000 is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy for sure. I think it just kind of proves that, most people in the hobby are familiar with the Chrome, and if it's somebody that's coming from other sports, they're already familiar with the Chrome line, so they know what's up, and the Sapphire. So I don't know. I guess the money might be in Chrome. It's looking like for now.
100%. And I have to ask, are you leaning more towards the Chrome as the definitive or the Sapphire as the definitive?
I think like my own preference, I think the Sapphire is such a pretty card. Like the way you could see it in the light and it sparkles, and I don't know, it's just a nice looking card. But then on the other hand, you got Chrome, which is the like the original, clean looking, nice looking product. So both are good. If I were to have one just based on looks alone, I might go for Sapphire, but I don't know. They might be closer to tied for me.
I am the exact same way. Since I did baseball, I'm really familiar with the Chrome to Sapphire differences. So like just from being in the baseball market, like I know they go for about the same price, but I've always thought of Sapphire as being that high-end product.
Right.
Like how you'll see, like you could have an Acuna in baseball sell for $300 and a 10 for Chrome, but if that's a Sapphire, that's a $3,000 card.
Wow.
Just because of the difference in just Sapphire to Chrome. So I've always seen Sapphire as being the better for singles.
Gotcha.
And if we're going for sealed, I think Chrome could be the better because of the autos.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
it's
I
just
think
a hard
I think
choice.
people that aren't familiar with the fact that Sapphire doesn't have autos. So yeah, Sapphire does not have autos.
That's why, yeah, it's like I opened my one box of Chrome a while ago, and it's like I probably should have kept it sealed, but
Yeah,
it's just I couldn't help it. I lasted one day before I cracked,
exactly.
and it's
Yeah.
like I think I could have held off on Sapphire because it's like you're only getting so few cards. It's just that thing like you're paying like whatever ridiculous amount it is now, 1,000 when it was just like
Yeah.
600 a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
For 32 cards, you're paying $1,000. Like if you do the math, like for how many you're paying per card, you're probably paying like $30 to $40 a card.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And that's
So
and I've seen. I mean, you've opened a few and done well, but I've seen some that are just like you can't even get $200 back.
right, yeah, I got lucky on the first two boxes with 2 Lewis base, a Max, and some other goodies.
No, that video was hilarious. It was like the exact same like order, exact same cards.
My first 2 Sapphire boxes, I got like a very similar match of the same exact cards, and that Lewis out of the 70th anniversary,
Yeah.
like same card. It was bizarre.
All right, so the next one I wanted to talk about that I found that was pretty funny were these Formula One F2 one-of-one logos.
Yes.
And so I actually saw one, not the whatever this pink one, Pod Parash. I don't know how you pronounce this one.
I don't know how to either.
I've known it for like 2 or 3 years. And I still haven't bothered to learn it, so I called it the pink one. But I saw when I was at the National, they had a one-of-one Superfractor. I can't remember what team it was. Maybe Trident. Who knows? It was a random team, and they wanted like $500 for it.
Jeez.
And it's like this sale that I have up for $66 seems about right for an F2 logo. But like,
is it Charouz?
Yeah, the Charouz.
Yes, $66, one.
It's a one like here's the thing. It's like you could say like you have a one-of-one from the most popular like set that will be for years for Formula One. Like I doubt that this will be there'll be a bigger set. But like then again, like is anybody really interested in buying? Like it only had 3 bids, so people clearly weren't that interested in this.
Yeah, I think as far as those F2 cards, I think those are a lot of the interest in that is obviously Schumacher, Yuki being in there.
Yeah.
But I also think that the other half of the interest is from those guys that are collecting, and they grew up as kids watching F1 and F2, so they're so familiar with F2 that it's just as fun to collect that as the F1 probably for them. Whereas us are more geared towards the F1 since we didn't. I personally didn't grow up watching F1. I just got into it a few years ago, and I feel like I love all the content, but I probably wouldn't. I haven't, and I probably don't see myself really getting into F2 that much as far as following it.
No, I'm the same way. I follow like F1, IndyCar, and NASCAR. So that's already 3 like racing series that I'm actively keeping up and interested in.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah,
and it's like maybe I'll catch the highlights to an F2 race every once in a while. Like on after the Sunday race that's on YouTube, I'm like, I'll watch it for 10 minutes. But I don't think I've ever tuned into an F2 race live at all. Like, and sure, like maybe like I could in the future if there's like a young, talented guy coming up. But even like in this year of F2, like there's nobody that really jumps out at you for being like spectacular. The only ones I can think of are in F3, but that's a miles away.
Right. Yeah.
All right, and then now next I wanted to show the one you wanted to talk about, the George Russell patch from Dynasty.
So
PSA 10.
Behind that is because that's it was a PSA 10, right?
Yes.
PSA 10 George Russell Dynasty, and it's going for $6,000.
Yeah, it's.
This is my what I wanted to bring up. The world champion guys that are a little older now, Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen, and Alonso doesn't have his card because it wasn't in for the years that the Chrome cards before. But their cards, Vettel base card $1, Raikkonen base card $1 to $5, and their refractors are 10 to 20. Whereas in their established world champions, Vettel 4 times and Raikkonen once, and then we have Max, George, Lando, Charles, all at like $30, $20, $30, $40, $50 for their base, and then the refractors at anywhere from like $100 to $200.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That just surprised me because it's like, how are they so cheap when they're established world champs? When all these young guys are going for a lot more, like multiply it by.
I did.
5.
I actually came up with this exact same thought process when I was at the notorious table where I bought basically all my F1 at the National. He was selling a Dynasty Vettel with the Pirelli. It was the Pirelli, like it's basically like the Russell you showed with the Pirelli as a logo. And I could have bought it. It would have been most of my cash at the time, but he was asking $800 cash.
Right,
and like,
not bad.
And it's like that seems like a steal for a 4-time champ. Like you can't $800. Like it's ridiculous.
The focus just isn't on those guys right now, which is understandable, just because how talented all these young guys are, and also the fact that they have Lando and George have the rookie card logo. And they don't, but still, it's the first year product, and Vettel and Raikkonen both have cards in it, and they have titles under their belt, and it's just so cheap. It seems a little weird to me.
Yeah, I think there's even still there's still good buying opportunities for even these guys nobody talks about, like Giovinazzi, Latifi, sure. Like all of these like guys that nobody's ever going to talk about. Like you can pick them up for so cheap, like $100 for a Dynasty. And it's like they're one of the 20 drivers on the grid. Sure, they're not going to ever get like hype like a Russell. They're not that good. But like I don't see like how you can possibly go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just for your PC, it's somebody you follow and you like, then I don't see what's wrong with just grabbing the card if you're not expecting to make money off of it.
I think right now you buy everything except Bottas. You sell. Get out while you still can.
Yeah, Valtteri, I don't know. We'll see what happens to him, but I feel bad. It's sad that he might be getting replaced by the new hot stuff coming up to Mercedes, hopefully. But I don't know.
It's a tough thing for me because like I obviously think Valtteri's a great guy. Like I have nothing wrong with him, but just being a George fan, it's just like when can we get this guy out of the car because he is not doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like I have nothing against them. He can go to Williams and do great with Latifi at Williams, but like it's still like I don't know. It's hard to have those feelings of like you want somebody to be replaced, even though like they're a fine driver. Like there's nothing wrong with Bottas, but like he's just not up to the level I think George is or Lewis.
Right. It's interesting because how he's so closely compared to Lewis, obviously because they're in the same car. And he's not too far off Lewis, but
no, he's not.
And he's not winning as much as they would want him to. So I don't know. I think trying out George wouldn't be bad for Mercedes. Everybody wants to see it, and then it'd be interesting to see how he holds up on his own against Lewis.
100%. Yeah. All right. So next and final eBay sale. This is hot off the eBay sold. Just about an hour or two ago, there was this Topps Chrome base Lewis Hamilton that ended up going for $177. And I cannot believe this sale whatsoever. I mean, I checked like the bids to see if it was shill bidded. It didn't look shill bidded at all. Granted, the seller doesn't have a lot of feedback, so he could have sold with the one account and then shill bidded with his main. That's possible. But like $177 seems ridiculous for this card.
Yeah, it seems weird since most of them are around 100, I think, right now, right? 1 to 120.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't check today, but I remember like when I ended up trading my Lewis base, they were all day $100 to $120. Give or take like the $10 in there, but like
Right.
So like it was pretty like it was trending sideways, and then like now it's just all trending up. Do you think this base card trending up has anything to do with that Sasha sale that we just saw?
Yeah, I think there's a little influx in the market from that video right now for sure. Just probably mostly um, of I think his it's safe to say his following or his videos are based off of like flipping and making small percentages on cards, and I think a lot of the people that watch are also trying to do that. So I think it's safe to say that there was probably a decent amount of people that saw that video, didn't know anything about F1, um, and kind of wanted to check it out and are buying and trying to do their thing. So I think it's safe to say that there could be a little, upward tick driving prices up for right now
Yeah,
because of that.
I think so too, because like, and it's like there's not that many like overall printed.
Hmm.
So like, and like this is something that I can see like when an F1 guy gets it, he's probably gonna hold it, like, or he'll sell
Right.
it maybe later. But like, I don't know. Hamilton's just like it's basically like the LeBron. Like, obviously it's not that much, but like he's like the LeBron and Jordan. Him and Schumacher, the LeBron and Jordan of F1. So when
Sure.
somebody sees a card going for like $100 of more like what a lot of people consider to be his first card. Like
You're right. Yeah.
just like they see like if LeBron's going for like what is his I'm pretty sure his base tops 2003 LeBron goes for maybe $5,000 to $10,000. But if I see something for 150 raw, like most people are going to think you can't really lose on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. And then so last big topic we have before we just talk about whatever is this PSA pop report that we talked about a little bit before we went on, and how these tens, if you can find them, are going to be huge cards.
Yeah. I think so. It's so hard to tell um, if they're mistakenly or given a 10. I don't know if they would miss that. Hopefully, people listening would probably know, but just to repeat, the top's chrome parallels and the numbered cards and a few others have the little damage mark on the top and the bottom. So it's surprising to see some of them get these PSA 10s with the marks.
Yeah,
Sure.
and for those who don't know, I can throw a quick picture up to show like how these cards, like these edges, like they are tough grades. As you can see on my screen, like I'm pretty sure the base cards aren't affected by it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But it's just these colors as we scroll down, like there are no tens really. You'll maybe find one every once in a while, but these parallels you just cannot get tens in them.
All right. So it's weird to see a parallel with a 10, and then it's even stranger to see a 10 and then a picture of the back when you see the damage. It makes you wonder if since PSA is having all these like I think they're hiring and expanding. It's like, are people like training and they give a 10 on accident, or is it somewhere in the writing of a Gem Mint 10 classification that there could be, like I showed you guys on the group chat,
Yeah.
printing imperfection can be allowed. So I don't know. It'll be cool to see in the future when grading's more accessible how many get a 10 with the damage mark for sure.
I think the biggest thing is this was also talked about a little bit on the F1 Discord, so I'll give the plug now to go join that as we all talk the F1 cards. Is just I just lost my train of thought as I tried to plug the Discord. I'll think about it in a second, but
Okay, no worries.
yeah, that was that's funny. But yeah, like there's like I remembered it finally. It was talking about how I think that when PSA first got these cards,
Right.
like and nobody knew about these edge damages, they see them and they're sevens all day long. Like as if I scroll down, you'll see these sevens and eights constantly.
Yeah.
But now that PSA kind of has figured out about these edges, they see it as being every card will have. So even if there's some that don't have it, those will get a 10, just like the ones with the edges. So I'm curious
Right.
if in the future some of these maybe even get resubmitted to see if they
Uh,
can get
yeah.
10s or even just a grade or two higher. Because a grade or two higher for those cards can mean world of a difference.
And I have a quick question, and I want to hear your opinion because I'm kind of unsure myself, but I have heard some people, I have heard some people that are not interested in buying PSA 10s that you could blatantly tell are graded wrong with the damage.
Mm.
Do you think that somebody, I don't know, at a card show or on eBay, looking at the front and back, they see it's a PSA 10, but they also see it has damage? Or do you think that would turn them off from potentially buying it?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think it's going to depend on the individual.
Yeah,
Because, like, as we've seen, like, I'm going to give a shout out to Sports Card Plaza for all the graded gems. Like,
yeah,
you'll see, like, he had that Hamilton, this is Hamilton out of 399. That had a perfect back. He somehow found one that had no damage.
wow,
And, like, if you see, like, that, like, the premium on that is unbelievable.
for sure.
So, like, if I see one with edge damage, like, in a PSA 10, if I'm the one submitting it, I love it. Obviously, like,
Yeah,
how can you not? But like, if I'm
yeah,
buying, like, I can't trust that being a true 10 when I've seen 10s with no damage, however rare they are.
yeah. And then you have to think, well, when I go to sell it, it's a PSA 10, but people can see that it has the damage. So I don't know what people's mindsets will be on buying that. So
That's why
uh,
That's why right now I've been buying a lot of raw. I mean the like buying and like I don't know. I just can't do the colors in the PSA. Like if they're at 8 or whatever, like it's funny because like everybody loves the 10s, but you can't really trust the 10s for Formula One. So like you're stuck buying like these 7, 8s, 9s, but that purist in you who wants the 10 is like, do I really want to buy it if it's not a 10?
exactly, yeah,
So
that makes
that's why
sense.
I was talking to Buff at the show, and he picked up the Hamilton out of 70 black from
Right.
Sapphire. He picked it up, and like I was telling how I wanted to buy that card, but like in a PSA 8 case, like I don't know, I just want to keep it raw. I would crack it, and it's like I don't want to pay premium if I'm gonna crack a card from PSA.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, do you have any hot like I don't know, I'm trying to say like any like thing that you like anything that you're looking at right now that you think could potentially be something good. You don't have to share if you don't want to. I'll share a few
Yeah,
of the things I've been buying. But do you have anything that you think that like is a
I'll.
little sneaky thing that maybe that's pretty cheap that you could see some room to grow?
Yeah, yeah. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. So you go ahead, and I'll try to think if I have been. I mean, I've been kind of on like a break from buying, to be honest.
Yeah, I have
Um,
as well.
yeah,
I'll do one or two. So the big things I've seen that seem undervalued.
hmm
The one I just sold one recently, so this is the reason why I was thinking it. It's the Lewis Hamilton 174s, the one with the thumbs up.
yeah. Thumbs up.
The profile picture of my YouTube channel, the one with this thumb up.
Yeah, a lot
And
of love for.
so I recently sold one, the one out of 399 purple, for like $50.
That's
And
a bummer that I just bought one a few months ago for like 150. Dang
exactly,
it.
like that's exactly the point. Like it just seems that seems so cheap for that picture because I think that's honestly I like that picture the most of Hamilton out of all the set.
Right.
I think it's the
Yeah.
best picture. So like it's funny how that is going for 50. Like I can and with Hamilton like base going up as we just saw, I think there's some room for the 174s to really
Yeah, that
slowly
makes
take
sense.
off.
If you think about it, it's a 399. There's only 399 of them. So for $50, a Lewis Hamilton, and there's only 50 of them. That's pretty sick. I think that's pretty good buy.
And so I have two more buys that I'm thinking about. One of this next one is really broad. So, but it's just any driver who's not Hamilton, Max, Russell, or Norris. Any of non those drivers who
Yeah,
have like their golds, their aquas, their blacks. Like I'm thinking like right now, I
yeah.
think
Oh,
Leclerc I think is the number one buy in the F1 market right now.
Really? Yeah.
I think so because you check some of the sales on Leclerc, and they aren't
Yeah.
even. They're not even matching George Russell's sales.
Yeah. It's
Like
so
they're
weird.
way down. And for somebody who's driving for Ferrari, who
Yeah.
I mean, you have the new changes coming in next season. Ferrari could be as long shot of as it is because they can never seem to get it right. There's a chance Ferrari's the number one team next year.
Yeah. Anybody could be on top next year. That's the crazy thing. Yeah.
So, so Charles is the one. The other one that I think also is a very sneaky buy is Pierre Gasly.
Gasly. Yes.
I think Gasly is just so sneaky. He's always in the Alpha Tower. He's always out driving it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a very outside chance he goes to Red Bull. I don't think they're going to do it, but there's a chance he could, and that right there would just explode Gasly if he got that call.
Yeah. I don't know. Something about Charles, Pierre Gasly, something about like them is just like I don't know. I believe in them so much. They have like that. I mean, as well as Max, but
Yeah,
have like that fight mentality. I don't know. I mean, I know they all do, but those 3 or 4, they stand out to me big time.
and the last driver I just thought about in this similar section, I think this actually could be the number one buy over Leclerc, and that's Vettel. Vettel is so cheap right now.
He's so cheap right now.
Like he's so cheap for a 4-time champion that like I feel like everything I see Vettel like at the shows when I'm going, I'm buying.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, it's way too cheap for the 4-time champ.
Yeah, you kind of brought it up. But what I thought of was I think just base cards, they're so clean. They're the base cards, they're not inserts, and they're not that pricey right now. Like I think you could still. I mean, even Hamilton. Go for some base cards if you don't have any F1 and you're going, you want to hold them long term. I don't think you're gonna lose much long term. I think long term, you're gonna do well for yourself if you buy base cards.
Yeah, I think there's only 1 or 2 drivers realistically right now that you would maybe lose money on if you were to hold.
Right.
One of those being Bottas for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he might hold steady. I don't know if he'll go down, but I don't think you're going to get the growth out of him as the others.
Yeah, that could totally be.
And I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of some other people that could maybe. I mean, there's one guy right now I just thought of, Danny Rick. That as much as I want to say to buy him, his time at McLaren right now is scaring me to say to go out and buy Danny Rick.
It really is.
Because he is just not like I'm used to the Danny Rick of years past, where he was getting podiums and fighting, but Lando is just out driving him right now, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally think his biggest mistake was leaving Red Bull.
Yeah, it's so hard at that point. I think him leaving at the time, I thought it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was at Renault, he was getting podiums last year, so like I couldn't really fault him. He knew what he was signing up for, and I thought when he went to McLaren, he was for sure going to be fighting Lando.
Right. Like if anything, he should be doing better in the McLaren. I think it's a better race car than last year's Renault was.
100%.
So, and if anything, he's gone downhill this year compared to last year. So it's definitely weird to see.
No, yeah, it's very interesting. All right, so I don't know, I've asked a couple people just at shows, and I've gotten mixed reactions, so I want to hear your opinion.
Okay.
How do you feel about Mick Schumacher long term?
Oh, I think for sure he has the ties with Ferrari. I think eventually he will be with Ferrari.
I had a similar prediction, but the thing with Mick stuff is right now, like for driving for Haas, I mean his stuff's pretty like inflated for Haas, to be honest.
Right.
So it's like I can't really say to buy Mick, but I think in a year or two when the Mick hype dies down, I think Mick might be a sneaky play because I think as well he'll get a Ferrari seat at some point.
Yeah, I think so. And Mick in Chrome is F2, right?
Yeah, he has the F2 card.
I also personally I don't go for F2 really because I had talked to people that are familiar with like basketball, and I think there's maybe you're more familiar with it. I'm really not familiar with it, but there's cards that are for like their college careers.
Oh,
and
I know what you're
that
saying.
they'll really do well compared to like their rookie of NBA.
Yeah. So
So,
I can explain it for you if you would like.
Yeah.
So this is a thing with baseball. I mostly think of it as a baseball problem, but I mean it's also a football and basketball problem, but they're two separate things. So for football and basketball, people don't like the college uniforms.
Okay.
Because when they get a card, they think they associate them with their NFL team. So once the NFL like cards come out, all the college stuff drops way off a cliff.
Right.
And like, I don't know. I actually like buying college cards, so I'm a little different than most people.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's obviously they have way less value. And for baseball, for them, it's the same concept, but for the minor league teams. Like,
right. So,
like why would you want to buy a prospect for? I'm gonna throw out a random team, like for the Richmond Flying Squirrels Double A. Like, why would you want to buy a card of somebody from there when you can buy their rookie card and like they get pulled up a year later? Like,
exactly.
There's no reason to buy.
Yeah, if you hear that and compare and kind of just apply that to the F1 market, it seems to me that the F2 cards wouldn't do great long term. So I haven't invested much at all. I don't think I've bought an F2 card. I just have the cards from all the 20 boxes that I've ripped of Chrome. So
yeah, all the F2 cards I've bought. It's funny, for some reason, all the F2 cards I've bought have been dollar cards that I found.
Right.
Or like I went to a show and they were selling 25-cent cards. And it was just like the F2 teams for 25 cents. And it's like I don't know, like you can't really move them like cuz nobody's going to buy them. But like 25 cents, like I bought all of them. And it ended up costing like $30 to buy all these like F2 cards when they're 25 cents, and I got a discount on that.
Right. So if one of them does well in the future, you're good. I mean, you're good right now. It's only $30. But.
Oh, that's why including that 30 was like a few baseball. So like and like even then like I'm pretty close to breaking even. I still have a bunch of that left. But it just takes a while.
Right. There's not much risk on, 25-cent or dollar cards. So if you want it, you go for it. Why not?
So as we were talking, I was just checking this pop report for Sapphire. And I found this Lewis Hamilton Pink 101, because I still can't say the name, graded a PSA 6. And while I show that, I have to say, please don't grade 101s. Because this 6 just will kill you.
Is it it's not base, right?
It's a base. It's number 134. I do not know which one this is. It's probably one of his Grand Prix wins.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you get it 101 graded at a 6, I feel like you only hurt your value.
Yeah, most likely. That sounds right.
But I mean, I'm a big stickler when I see people grade 101s. It just irks me. Because it's already a 1 of 1. Just get it in an authentic slab.
Yeah. Then it won't bother you. That's not a 10 if you're a PSA 10 hunter like me.
All right. Do you collect anything that's not F1, or are you strictly F1 right now?
No, not really. When all the F1 cards kept getting delayed, I went out and had the urge to rip. So I would go and get NBA Hoops 2019 and 2020, but it was just kind of like just to rip for fun.
Okay.
I don't even NBA. So not really. I've got a few Mandalorian cards, but not F1 is definitely like the 99%.
Yeah, the Star Wars cards. Big fan, but I don't know. I'm very picky with those.
Right.
And it's like the only Star Wars cards I really have are I have a 1977 almost complete set of the first release, and I have those Topps Living.
Yes.
So like I have like the Grogu Baby Yoda, I have The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And those, like, I actually checked recently. Those were actually selling really well.
Yeah, I remember trying to collect the Mandalorian Now series.
Yeah.
And season 1, episode 1, the 5-card set was like $200 or something.
Oh.
Or 4 or 5, maybe.
Okay. I have to show everybody this because, and I'll tell you as well, my most recent buy on Topps website. And so I don't know how I saw this. I was looking, I think on like Twitter, because I follow them. And the Topps posted the set of Avatar: The Last Airbender cards. And I watched the series. I know a lot of people haven't, but this set right here could be very it makes me laugh like saying this. Like it could be a very sneaky long-term investment because I bought 5 of them for $10. I still can't find it. I bought them for like $10 a card. Or not $10 a card, $10 for like whatever it was. And they're already going for $40-50 a thing now on eBay.
Wow.
So like I think like you can do well on that stuff, but it's just so hard to find.
Right.
Then have you been buying the Topps Now Formula 1?
I stuck with season 1. Pretty good collection on that. At least 5 of each of those.
Uh-huh.
And then my top is the Max 23 with 40 copies of that. But I'm staying away from the rest. I think I don't think they're going to be significant enough to keep like a lot of value. And it's just a lot to keep up with, like financially, to be honest. So, I passed on season 2.
Yeah, I ended up completing the first 2020, and I should have stopped on this year's, but once I start a collection, I have to finish it. I just can't like stop. So I'm buying all these cards that like I have no like reason. Like I'm pretty like, for me, my opinion, like they've gone way downhill, like the cards. Right. Too many cards, horizontal cards, compared to the first series. But I just can't stop buying them because that completionist in me would scream.
Yeah, I get that.
All right. Do you have anything, last thoughts, anything F1, any predictions for this break, coming back of Belgium, anything along those lines?
I'm hoping we hear something about George. If not, I'd be kind of bummed just because being dragged out. But there's one thing I want to mention about the F1 products and it being the first year. So I don't know, this could be a stupid comparison, but you know how like it's pretty crazy that we're in the first year and we're investing in the first year and that we got it that early. So I decided to go back to basketball, baseball, and I wanted to see what year they came out with Topps Chrome for those sports. So I looked at the basketball, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I noticed, it was 1996 Topps Chrome basketball.
I believe, yeah, it was Kobe's first year, I believe.
And right now they're going for $50,000 a box.
Yeah.
And I get that Kobe's a big part of that, but we have George Russell, we got Lando Norris, we got Max and Lewis. It's all their first cards. So what I'm thinking is, if there's some kind of correlation there, these boxes could be big in the future.
I think any sealed F1 box from basically any time, like I think, like I was earlier this year, like in January, I was going and buying 1992 Schumacher like stuff, and you can buy those boxes, complete sets for $300.
Yeah.
And like this is obviously a ludicrous comparison, but that Schumacher 51 is, you could compare it to the Jordan 80, like Jordan 86, for that's how big that card is for F1.
Yeah, for sure.
For a similar name. But it's going for, I mean, it's obviously not to that like quality, but like if you can pick that card up in a PSA 10, I think recently for like $1,300.
Wow. I remember when it was like I thought $4,000 a few months ago. Not well in the very hype of all of sports cards.
Well, I sold a PSA 9 in March for $2,300.
Oh, so yeah, it was like $4,000 I think for the PSA 10s at the time.
I remember I saw a PSA 10 sale for, I believe, like $6,000 to $8,000 in March.
Yeah, it was more. I didn't want to like step what I thought it was, but yeah, maybe it was more. Yeah,
So
that
like,
sounds right.
for $1,000, like
There's
like
no way the buyer would have known that you could just get the card for $200 guaranteed in the set, and then or like buy a bunch if you're spending $8,000, and then
yeah.
just send them all the thing and get one for way cheaper than you bought.
That's why when I saw that sale, I couldn't believe it, because even then, like those sets, they're about the same. Like I was buying the sets for $250, $300,
Yeah, same.
and like so like I remember like after I made that one sale for the $2,000, I bought like 6 more things.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, granted, they're not like easy 10s. Like I can say that I've sent 2 in. The 2 best ones I've sent in, I got a 9. My second one I got an 8. I'm still mad at PSA. I think they pop counted me on it because it looks phenomenal, but I got an 8. So I mean, I'm keeping it for the PC because it's so cheap. But like, still, it's ridiculous that you can buy these cards for so cheap. Like a 9 you can buy for $300.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a good long-term hold, because that's one of those cards that people look at as like, that's Schumacher's major card. It seems like right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like it's his number 1 card, and you can get him for so cheap. Like if you were to buy his card raw, it's probably only $60-$80. You could buy like 2 of them for the price of a Hamilton base.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're getting a GOAT of Formula One for that price. Those seem like the biggest no-brain buys right now. Yeah, but the only problem is they're not like the sexy. It's like collecting vintage versus modern stuff. It's not like the sexy buy, but like like I know year after year that Schumacher will keep going up.
I think so.
Then yeah, like I've been looking at some of those greats like Senna. That stuff's expensive, so I can't quite get there, but we'll work to it.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me for this first F1 talk. It was a lot of fun.
Of course. I thought it was awesome. I'm honored to be the first guest here.
So I hope to have you on. I hope to have you on for some other ones.
Yeah, good luck.
I mean, we'll try to mix up the people, but we'll definitely get you back on.
Sounds good. I'm always down.
Yeah, we'll see who wants to join me next. I have a few people in consideration, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we get somebody. Hopefully, we can build up to get somebody cool. Like she collects cards in Hannah or someone like that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be. Maybe we get to that point where we could get her on. I know she's very high profile compared to me, but we'll see. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys later.
All right. See ya.